Hello, we're back, Nigeria. But first things first, good morning, because this is Wake Up Nigeria. And of course, because we are Nigerians, we always ask that question. I hope you had a good night.
How was your night?
How was your night? That's such a Nigerian thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think I rested a little bit.
Yeah, a little, just a tad.
All right, so you already know who we are and why we are here. We're the bearers of all things nice.
Of course.
In the morning.
Of course, this is a show where we deliver all that to you, but let's tell you who we actually are. Some people don't know who we are.
My name is Yomi Owope.
And I am Titila Oyinso. Information is power, so let's inform you that we're live on tvcontinental.tv and on Facebook. You can look us up at TVC Connect. For comments, make sure you use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria.
All right, now that hashtag gives you power and visibility.
Yeah.
So it also means that if we're participating in any giveaways on the show, it means that you might get the chance.
You have the power to win
something.
Very important, actually. You know, online businesses are using hashtags like crazy now. And if you're not, what are you waiting for?
All right, and for all the yummy goodness of food this morning, Chef Tina Akpan is back with MM in the kitchen.
Hey.
Good morning.
Hi guys,
Good
how you
morning.
doing? How was your night? Auntie Tina, how was your night?
My night is fine.
We are asking after everyone's nights this morning.
Okay,
You know,
so Chef Tina.
Titi said something. He said, when you forget your cap, what would happen? And I decided to go this way this morning.
Wow.
You're not wearing
Just
cap.
this
Okay, now it looks like Chef Tina. I was about to ask, where is our cap?
We're now officially taller than MM.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Thank you.
We're about to give you reasons why you don't want to miss any part of the show today.
All right, that's right. If you're a lover of music, we're about to brighten up your morning. We have Sax Gold joining us for a performance, and you know nothing beats a live performance on the show.
Yes, sir. And if you've ever wondered what level of privacy is healthy in a relationship, we have the amazing Stephen Omodriwe coming on the show later on to straighten out that issue for us.
And also, Dr. Moriam Olaide Jagun is going to be joining us today to talk about the benefits of family planning. We've been doing that for a few weeks now. That's important.
As far as veterans go in Nollywood, we'll be having Kola Olaya join us for a chat.
Kékeré ni tí mo ṣe fún yín ṣé tí máa lọ sí àwọn mọ̀pọ̀ ni mo lọ bá ètò má kó mọ̀pọ̀ ètò àwọn gàràgàrà tó falà báyìí máa gbé wa bá ètò tó lọ ètò ẹ̀ lọ sórí ilé máa mo ṣe wò yẹn ẹ̀yin tálíkà lásán yẹn tẹ́ ẹ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ owó rí ìjọba pé bá kú nìyẹn.
Okay. Now that's an extreme actor right
You
there.
can be a part of the show as much as you want. Just send us your comments on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria.
Yes, indeed. We've been getting quite a lot of hits on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
A lot of our clips from the kitchen, the interviews. It's been amazing online.
Yeah.
You should check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, they should, because people actually love the kitchen segment. Yeah, I guess because everyone wants to learn something new.
Yeah.
You can never get. It's important to always spice up your home with new dishes, interesting meals. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure your wife does that also.
Oh, yeah, she does. She, well, at least as much as possible, she tries to catch up with what's happening in the kitchen to learn a thing or two.
I really don't understand why we have to do so much to impress our men.
There we go.
So, like, we don't do much to impress our women. Like,
you're just
Sometimes
working.
the men just don't do enough.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
so they're
we
working
have
9 to 5.
We have to pay attention to their emotions.
to them.
Pay attention to their food. Pay attention to the heart, to the tummy,
to other aspects
to the other
as well.
aspects as well.
Let me tell you what we have to do. We also have to deal with your emotions because we never really know where your emotions are going.
Okay.
So we also have to try to understand you guys. We're Googling everything, checking dictionaries.
You are.
Using encyclopedias. What does it mean when your wife isn't talking for 3 days?
You
Things
are.
like that.
3 days?
Yeah, well, okay, well, 48 hours. So you're trying to find out.
The thing is, they know. They just do not want to pay attention. They just don't want to ask. They know.
So I'm just going to say sometimes maybe they don't actually know.
They do,
sometimes we
Titi.
women have to actually start using our words more, actually saying it, breaking it down that this is what is wrong with me right now. This is how I'm feeling. And once we're able to tell you in plain English, maybe you might start understanding more. But the silent treatment doesn't always work, ladies. Trust me. It doesn't always work.
It doesn't.
Yeah, because after a while, I think the guy just gives up. Asking you, baby, what's wrong? Baby, what's wrong? After some time, it's like, okay, you know what? When you're ready. When you're ready, just talk to me, you know.
Okay.
So that happens a lot.
Let's head over to the news now.
Good morning, guys. We'll pay attention to the money, and that pays the bill. On the news this hour, the National Assembly is threatened now to invoke its full powers against the executive if its resolutions are not implemented by President Muhammadu Buhari. The resolutions, which include a vote of no confidence against the Inspector General of Police, cessation of intimidation tactics against the leaders of the Assembly, punishment of errant appointees, among others, were reached at an emergency closed-door session, which lasted for more than 3 hours. The National Assembly's decision comes in the wake of the partial withdrawal of security aids attached to Senate and House presiding officers, as well as the police invitation to Senator Bukola Saraki over alleged sponsorship of armed robbery suspects in Kwara State. Now, a youth group is protesting against what it calls unfair treatment meted at Senate President Bukola Saraki by some political elements. The group says fundamental resolutions of the National Assembly are being constantly disregarded, as it seems that the executive is carrying out its own arbitrary approach to national issues. It appealed to men of conscience across the country to prevail on the federal government to stop intimidating and humiliating the Senate President. Meanwhile, a group of National Assembly members known as the Parliamentary Support Group has reaffirmed its support for the President. They say that almost all the members of the All Progressives Congress declined to join in the discussion during the joint session. The statement, which was written by Abdulmumin Jibrin on behalf of the group, states that the National Assembly should look inward and address the issue of suffocating senators and members with contrary opinion. The group says most of the issues raised concerning the fight against corruption, insecurity, and the rule of law have been severally discussed in the Senate as well as the House, with various resolutions passed. It wants the National Assembly to exercise caution not to overeat the polity with statements that are capable of dividing the country. The security chiefs have resolved now to send a joint team in the next 2 weeks on a special operation to Zamfara State to checkmate the activities of criminals in the area. This was disclosed by the Inspector General of Police after a National Security Council meeting which held at the Presidential Villa on Tuesday. The team will comprise of the Special Forces of the Nigerian Military, the Nigerian Police and the Nigerian Security, as well as the Civil Defense Corps. Also speaking, Senator representing Zamfara accused a cartel of being responsible for instigating the criminality in Zamfara as a venture for making money and indicted the state government of having a nonchalant attitude towards the situation. The National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, John Oyegun, has charged the newly inaugurated APC State Chairman on re-election of the party's candidates, particularly President Muhammadu Buhari, in the 2019 general elections. Oyegun made this call while inaugurating returning and newly elected State Chairman of the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. He also charges party stakeholders to embrace a compromise. The APC National Chairman also named the Deputy National Chairman North, Senator Lawa Shuaibu, to head the party's reconciliation efforts following the issues that arose from recently conducted ward, local government and state congresses. Let's now take a look at the weather forecast for today.
All right, Mike Mesekena is away, so I'll be taking the sports updates this morning. And Nigeria's Super Eagles on Tuesday evening had another training session ahead of their warm-up against Czech Republic on Wednesday afternoon. Reports say coach Gernot Rohr will make some changes to the team that started against England last weekend. Wilfred Ndidi and John Ogu may start ahead of Ogenye Onazi and Joel Obi in the Eagles midfield, with captain Mikel Obi, Victor Moses, Alex Iwobi and Odion Igalo retaining their places. The Eagles are targeting a win against Czech to boost their morale against the World Cup, ahead of the World Cup, which starts on June 14. Super Eagles captain John Mikel Obi is satisfied with the provisions made so far by the Nigeria Football Federation preparatory to the World Cup. Nigeria's Super Falcons have had their first official training in Bakau, venue of the first leg of their 2018 Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier against Gambia on Wednesday. The reigning African women's champions arrived in Gambia on Monday and have been training at the FIFA Goal Project in Banjul. The winner between the Super Falcons and Gambia over 2 legs will qualify for this year's Nations Cup holding in Ghana. The return leg of this fixture has been scheduled for Monday, June 11. The 2018 Africa Women's Nations Cup will serve as qualifiers for the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. Well, that's about all that we can take on the sports update this morning. We're going straight to Titi, who's right beside me, for the newspaper headlines.
Yes, we are going to start with The Punch. And it says here, National Assembly threatens to invoke its powers against Buhari. It really says, it says at the top here, herdsmen's killings, alleged harassment. You know, it says here, federal government fulfills housing promise to Bonfere Joe 22 years after. Wow. Suspended SEC Chief Guarzo arraigned for fraud, granted bail. Defense Minister wants anti-open grazing laws suspended, seeks safe routes for herdsmen. Buhari's medical bills can't be released without his consent, say the courts. That's what we have on the cover of The Punch.
Up next is The Nation and the headline, lawmakers threaten Buhari, senators, reps give 10 conditions. 162 oppose impeachment plan at stormy session. Parliamentary group warns against dragging National Assembly into private matters. Nigeria safe, secure for tourism, says Buhari. And finally, banks to adopt 360 naira to a dollar rate for 2018 results. All on the cover of The Nation.
On the cover of This Day newspaper, it says, National Assembly threatens Buhari over persecution of opponents, insecurity, other issues. PDP lawmakers allegedly collate signatures to impeach president. Loyalists vow to block attempt. Resolutions not endorsed by APC members, says group. Supporters urge Saraki to declare presidential ambition. Defense Minister pushes for suspension of anti-grazing law on page 11. That's what we have on the cover of This Day.
All right, up next is The Guardian and the headline, National Assembly plots President Buhari's impeachment. Passes vote of confidence in Saraki, Dogara, censures IGP Idris, parliamentary support group backs president. Nigeria mulls strategy to phase out non-biodegradable plastics. And finally, Senate seeks tax research fund as part of reform. That's all we have on the cover of The Guardian.
All right, so we have to take a short break now, but we will be back. It's still Wake Up Nigeria.
All right, welcome back. We're still on the newspaper headlines. And up next is the New Telegraph. And with the headline, National Assembly threatens to impeach Buhari. Pro-president's lawmakers kick. Buhari security chiefs meet. Parliament passes vote of confidence in Saraki Dogara. Reaffirms no confidence vote in IGP. And PDP, we've been vindicated. And still on the cover of the New Telegraph, ministers Okorocha lose out in APC state excos. And then the governor says Oyegun wants to destroy party before leaving. And finally, on the cover of the New Telegraph, Nigeria clears $600 million airlines trapped funds. British Airways Delta confirmed clearance of blocked funds, and $4.9 billion still trapped in Venezuela, Angola, Sudan, others. All on the cover of the New Telegraph.
On the cover of the Nigerian Tribune, it says, crack in NAS over threat to remove Buhari, as lawmakers give 12-point condition after emergency joint session, reaffirm vote of no confidence on IGP. We're not part of resolution, say the parliamentary support group. NAS resolutions vindicate us, PDP say. As long as we're alive, nobody can remove Buhari, say Kazore. And it says here, signatures are being collected for impeachment. Saraki in closed session with U.S. ambassador. More about this on page 3, apparently. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, it says on Ekiti, INEC identifies 299 flashpoints. Suspend anti-grazing law, Defense Minister tells Security Council. Federal government approves 2,000 special security personnel for Zamfara. On page 34, more on that. That's what we have on the Nigerian Tribune.
And we also have the Vanguard here. And the headline, National Assembly draws battle line with Buhari. Issues 12-point resolution on state of the nation. Charges president to address killings of Nigerians, threat to democracy, or, and you can see that story on page 5. And then finally, Jibrin indicts NPDP members. TMG, CISLAC differ with legislators. All on the cover of the Vanguard.
And that's all we have time for on the newspaper headlines for now.
And of course, we're heading on to the kitchen where Chef Tina and MM have been on standby. I'm seeing some chicken there.
Yes, indeed.
Yummy. It's too early to start to drool. I know you've not had your morning coffee, but it's fine. We are making
Ukodo.
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 Ukodo. Yam.
Pepper soup.
Pepper soup.
Yes.
Porridge.
Which one is the porridge again, Auntie Tina?
It's actually a meal from Delta.
Okay.
We have varieties of stuff we use to make it.
So wait, let's talk about ukodo first of all. So ukodo, is the name specific to the Niger deltas, or I don't understand? Is it like a general name for yam pepper soup?
It's the general name for this particular
recipe. Oh, okay.
You know, it's just like you say abula.
Oh,
you understand? So
okay.
when you say pepper soup, people won't understand. But once you say ukodo, they'll be like, you know.
Okay, so I've learned something. Ukodo.
Ukodo.
So we are making ukodo. So let's talk about our ingredients.
Okay, we have our yam.
Yeah.
We have our chicken.
And this chicken looks good, by the way.
We have our pepper. We have our salt, our seasoning cube, then our pepper soup spice. Then I have some chopped pepper just to garnish the pepper soup.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to look so plain.
Okay.
So far.
What about this?
That's the pepper soup spice.
Oh, okay, blended
yeah.
one. Oh.
Yes. So we have our yam already.
Okay.
So it's just gonna go in.
You know, yam pepper soup, why, I mean, it's like why do we always give yam pepper soup to sick people, sick patients?
Because, you know, when you're sick.
Or pregnant women, or not pregnant women actually, after they give birth.
After they
new
give
mothers,
birth, yeah.
You know, because I took a lot of yam pepper soup.
When you're sick,
yeah,
you know, nothing really goes in. Nothing.
Okay.
No matter how hard you try, you know. But when you take this, you know, there's no oil with it.
Yes.
There's no oil.
Nothing
so
to disturb your
system. You know, so this is the let's just add little more to it.
And it's always a good option for new mothers. Every time,
Yes.
sorry, let me take this away so that water doesn't spill. Because I took a lot of yam pepper soup, especially during the first few weeks after I gave birth.
And it will help you.
Yeah, with your tummy.
Yes.
You know, there's this pepper soup spice,
yeah.
this one.
Yes.
It's actually very good for the tummy. It helps you, you know, at least cut down all the excess.
Yeah, in it.
That has accumulated in your tummy. you know, it helps you. And then, you know, it's generally a very healthy recipe, basically, for new mothers.
Yes, most especially the spice, really.
Okay, the spice, right?
It's the spice that it's really the one doing the work.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we're good to go with this.
Okay.
So I'm just going to add seasoning cube, just little of the seasoning cube.
Do we have enough water in there?
Yes.
Okay. Just how we'll want it.
How we want it.
All right.
Then the seasoning cube goes in.
All right.
You know, in this, you're not going to add onions, because I know MM will soon ask now.
Yes. How did you know? I was just about to ask. Where's our onions?
No
because
onions.
I like onions. I feel like onions should be like, it's a must-have for, well, at least most meals, basically. You know, because it always gives you that flavor.
Yeah.
You know.
But in all, there are some food that you don't add onions.
Yeah, that's
to.
why I said most. Most meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some that you don't, so.
Okay. So let's talk about yam pepper soup. Whilst our yam is cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we're actually going to let that cook for how long before we?
You know this
put in our other
period.
spice?
This period we are now. You can't really predict. Yam is very hard. You know,
Hey, thank you, Auntie Tina, for just reminding me. Yesterday, my husband came back. Ranted. I went to buy yam. Yam now costs 1,000
yes,
for a
very
tuber.
expensive.
Hey, they don't want us to
very
say
expensive.
Eh? Why?
And there's season for everything.
Why
You know,
so
this
expensive?
period is really, really expensive.
Well, a lot of food items actually are very expensive this period in the market. So yeah, I think this should spur some of us to go into farming.
Farming, yes.
It's very important.
Yes. So.
Because I'm seriously considering it. I won't lie to you. You know, and there's a female farmer, gardener we're having sometimes soon on the show.
Okay.
I can't wait for her to come and enlighten many of us on, you know, how to plant, because it's very important this season. Because I mean, it's time we started harvesting our own crops in our own yard.
Yes, so.
You know, to help
As
us.
if you have a place to plant to.
Well, you create it too.
How?
You have to
when
find a way
if you're
to
living in
create
a
it.
compound whereby everywhere is
Yeah, but I hear that
interlocking.
you could also get those flower pots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could also get those flower pots. They're quite expensive though, but at least you could get them to help, you know, cultivate whatever it is that whatever crop you're planting.
And then go to the market and buy whatever you want to buy.
Yeah,
if you have it all, how would they sell?
You will sell your own too. When you have in excess, you sell.
But you know you can't do everything, no.
No, of course you can't do everything. The ones you can.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones you can.
Okay.
You should.
Okay.
Yeah, because even my nanny, what she does is every time we have the stem, the head and tail of the yam, she takes it. Yeah, she goes to plant it. So I'm waiting for the yam season. Exactly. I've been asking her, Auntie, when is our yam coming? Because our yam, we are sharing from this yam.
And what you're trying to make me understand now, when next we want to do anything with yam, you bring for us.
No, it's for me.
You bring for me because
yam I like it now,
is
consider.
Okay.
I'll think about
it.
Yeah. But let's eat at first. At least.
Yes, so.
Yeah. So
our chicken.
You know, I don't know how to cut chicken.
Me, I can't. There's nothing I cannot do.
Whenever I go to buy chicken,
the only thing I can't do,
the
only thing I can't do, I don't know how to kill that chicken.
My mom is a fantastic chicken killer.
Me, I will cry.
She breaks in a...
There was this ex-mas, they brought chicken, and you know, they thought they did something very good for me. The chicken was there a few days after somebody came to kill the chicken.
You know, I think that's a skill not everybody...
Yes,
but I think we should all learn it because you just never know. Because rearing of chicken too is another business. It's a good business idea. You know?
I mean, you like
my earring just fell off. No, you have to find a way to just, you know, make it work.
Make it work.
You know, you have to create an enabling environment for yourself.
You're right.
You know, it's very important, yeah.
So I'm teaching you now. See, it's very easy.
I don't know where the hook of my earring actually
Don't worry, we'll do that later.
Yeah. So, chicken. When next? So what's next now after the chicken?
After the chicken, we'll add a little of the pepper and little of the seasoning.
Does yam pepper soup have to be so peppery?
It depends on how you want your hotness to be.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a hot person. If I'm cooking, I just put little of pepper. And you know we are in a state whereby everything that you're eating, if you're eating outside, you have to be very careful, because I ate something a few days back. It was so peppery, and I'm like, oh, why? You know, so it depends on you.
Okay.
Depends on you.
You know, it was my mom who taught me how to eat peppery food.
Me, I don't even like it.
You know, and it's also very good for the tummy too. You know, it helps you sometimes even detoxify. You know, in the morning, let's say you eat something peppery at night. In the morning, you go to the...
You know, the mindset of us that we have when it comes to ofada, that hotness. Me, I don't like hot soup.
All right, so let's go on a quick break. When we return, Wake Up Nigeria continues. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Now, you know, on Wake Up Nigeria, we love live music. And Shirley Frank Ibi Ogenetega, also known as Sax Gold, is a creative and resourceful female saxophonist in a class of her own. Through focus and diligence, she has been able to maintain and advance her passion. In 2017, she was signed up to WOMP record label, owned by multi-talented winner and maestro, Sir Ambassador Wale Oni. And she's going to be performing something special for us today. Yeah. So, Sax Gold, take it away.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful, lovely Sax Gold. So I'm detecting a little bit of soul in there, infused with a little bit of jazz. But it was really soft and nice, really good. So I wanted to ask a question. I'm very curious. Of all the instruments that you could have learned to play, why did you choose the sax?
Well, I guess because it looks really attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first time I saw it, I just developed interest for it. I saw someone play, and
I've noticed that about kids as well. Like, if you put like a number of instruments for them and it includes a sax, they usually go for it because it's attractive, it's shiny, and all of that. Okay, so tell us about the work that you have been doing with your new label and Wale Oni.
Okay, yes, like you already said, I got signed on
last year,
and we recently just released the single.
Oh, okay.
May 11th. That's the title.
Right. So where can one get the single?
We can get it on most of the social media blogs, Praise World, Gospel, a lot of links out there. You can get it. Just type Sax Gold on Google and
So tell us about some of the live performances you do, and how you work with bands, because I know that you probably will not work alone. You work with several other performers as well.
Okay, I presently play in a church, God's Favorite House. I actually started from the church, and I'm still in the church. Yes, so I play in churches. I get invites for events. Yeah, I get invites for commercial occasions as well. And then I play alongside with the band, the label I'm signed on, Waleoni. We also have our own band and we do lots of jazzy things and all. Right,
so performance at weddings, at churches, and different locations like that and all of that. Okay, so now when it comes to saxophones, right, and saxophone music, jazz and all of that, usually there's a whole cadre of people to choose from to inspire you, from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s, all the Coltrane, even Fela, and you know, the Nigerian guys. So tell me who you benchmark against that. Look, this is the guy that I want to be like, or this is the lady that I want to be like.
Okay, well, growing up, my dad had lots of Dave Colt CDs. Oh, right. So when I do shows at home, I usually would listen to that. I think maybe that's where it started from. Then I didn't even know what the instrument was. Yeah. I didn't even know that that was what he was playing. Okay. But I saw a picture with him on the pack of the CD, and then...
Were those LPs or CDs, though?
Yeah, CDs.
CDs, oh, okay, okay.
So when...
So you're more new generation, because I remember, I remember LPs.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it started then for me about that time. And then when I was going to university, I took the CDs without permission. So I kept listening, and then I finally got to start playing. So I would say Dave Coles was my foundation, and then I grew to know some other persons like Kick Willem. Yeah, and I started loving Gerard Albright because of the high pitches and a lot of dexterity.
That's one of the things that I also wanted to ask about, because sometimes when you're finding your own voice with the sax, it'll usually tilt towards one of the people that inspire you. True. Because I heard a little bit of Kirk Willem there, where you were ending with the "This Is My Story." Yeah, and that was really, really good.
Yeah, so I'll pick Kirk Willem, and for smoothness, smooth jazz, I'll pick Kenny G.
Yeah, smooth, steady.
It gets to your soul, even if you don't want him to.
Yeah, it does, it does. Yeah. Really nice, and it's just the kind of thing that you want to listen to in the morning when you wake up.
Relaxing.
Because it just relaxes you and keeps you in the mood, Yeah. All right, so tell me about, if you're working with young people, what are the things that someone who wants to be like you, who's been inspired, what are the things that, the important things that you would like them to know if they want to start out with saxophone?
I actually run a saxophone school, and the majority of my students are young children. Well, first of all, I'd say you need to have interest in it, because there's a lot of people that will start together and don't play anymore. First, interest to the right motive, and then you have to keep developing. Because that's what keeps you, consistency and all. So if you're going to play because somebody else is playing, that may not really keep you for long. But if you have interest, you're consistent, passionate about it, the motive, right motive. Most people want to venture into this because of money. But what if there's no money? What happens?
I understand. So, all right, we have to go to the kitchen now, but maybe you're going to give us a little bit of sound as we head there to the kitchen. Just a little bit of some flavor as usual while we go to the kitchen. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Very nice, very nice.
Nice one. All right, I already said that my child is going to learn to play at least 5 musical instruments.
5?
Yeah. I'm not going to force her into it though, but it's just an interest. All right, Auntie Tina, before you allow me bore you with my... Anyways, so we are making yam pepper soup. Ukodo.
Yam pepper soup.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the ingredients quickly.
Okay, I have my yam already on the fire. Yeah. I have my chicken here, and pepper, salt, seasoning cube. I have my chopped pepper for garnishing. Then I have my pepper soup spice. So
right.
yeah, in here now we have our yam, seasoning cube, and salt.
Yep.
You know, so the chicken is gonna go in next.
And that yam is soft already.
Is the way I actually
Chopped it.
diced it.
Oh, okay.
So the chicken goes in.
So, you know, I've never made yam pepper soup this way before.
This is my, will I call it a local
So I imagine
food.
that
It's like you're having Christmas and everyone is making jollof rice, fried rice, you know.
Yeah.
Way back growing up, I'll see my mommy, she will make this, you know that live chicken, it was live chicken we actually use now.
Okay.
Live chicken, she by the time she's done making it and she'll serve everybody, I would like, just give me the chicken and the yam. I don't want the pepper soup.
Oh, really?
I don't want, you know how hot that thing will be like.
You know, because you're cooking the chicken and the yam together, imagine what the yam is going to taste like.
Ooh.
I mean, it's going to have that chicken taste wrapped around it.
So we had a little
Pepper. Okay.
You know. I'm going to be mindful of the pepper that I'm using.
Just in case some people do not like,
then
our guests may not like too
your
much pepper.
spice will go next. You know, you don't add all the spice in it.
Okay.
You know, so you can have that pepper soup feeling.
Okay.
So you just add little of it. Then
So when you go to the market, say you're looking for yam pepper soup.
Pepper soup spice. You know, there is way that they have this pepper soup spice when you get to the market. Some of them, they had ginger and garlic in it. So you just go tell them to give you the pepper soup spice.
With ginger and garlic
No,
in it?
not with ginger and garlic. Then you now blend it yourself. I blended this one in the studio this morning.
With ginger and garlic?
No ginger and garlic in it. So if there is ginger and garlic, you won't have that pepper soup taste.
Oh.
Yes.
So you advise that no ginger, no garlic.
No ginger, no
blend
garlic
your
for
pepper
pepper
spice
soup.
like that.
If you're making pepper soup, you know you're making pepper soup. Pepper soup actually originated from, you know, that local stuff. And some people go, there was a day I bought in the market. By the time I was done making the pepper soup, I was like, and it was actually an order because they've eaten my pepper soup before and they were like,
they liked it.
Then after, when I was done making the pepper soup, I had to like, God, you know, I went straight to the market to get the fresh one. You know, I started blending it, then I had that fail back. So it's actually good, you know, whatever you want to do, you know, get it fresh. So you won't, when you're done, you will not feel bad, like with all my effort. You know, that's why I prefer getting them fresh.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Okay, so Auntie Tina, while our yam and chicken is cooking up, let's talk a little bit about, you know, your career, how you started. I mean, what was it like catering to your first customer or cooking that first meal that made you so happy that, oh, today I am going to impress these people?
You know, it's a story, you understand. It's a very long story. My parents died when I was very young, you know, so I started doing things, you know, on my own. Then I knew I had this flair, you know, for cooking. I've tried every other thing, you know. There was a day an outfit called me that, can you come and, you know, supply us lunch? I now said, no problem. I didn't have a dime. You know, I went to my sister. My sister gave me, I think, 650 naira, you know, to do something and give them. By the time they were done eating, they were like, they paid me up front. 1 month. You know, the MD then said, I like the way you present your food.
Great.
You know,
we'll go on a quick break now. So we'll continue that story when we return.
No problem.
Stay with us. Wake Up Nigeria continues shortly.
Welcome back. It's still Wake Up Nigeria. Understanding what level of privacy is healthy for you in a relationship is important, especially in a marriage. Now, Stephen Omojigbe is back, and he's here to help us break down this subject and enlighten us a bit more. Welcome back, boss.
Thank you. Good to be back.
I feel like you've gone globe-trotting and you finally come back to us.
It's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
All right. So my first question is, what do you mean by privacy? Is it not my husband? Which one is privacy there? Why didn't he marry me? Did he know I would be in his face?
Yes. So interesting the way you put it. There are two big principles. By the way, there is no one answer to that question that you asked. What level of privacy is held in a marriage? It's going to be something every couple has to work out. But let me quickly say the two principles. A fundamental principle of marriage is the law of unity. The law of unity says two shall become one. So anything you bring into the marriage becomes something we share. Both the good and the bad, the problems, the debts, the liabilities, everything, we begin to share it. Because whatever is not shared in the marriage becomes a possible point of division. So you want to share as much as possible. Anything that is not shared can become something that divides you later.
Okay.
But on the other extreme, Titi, is the idea that what you don't have, you cannot give. And that includes yourself. So autonomy, which is what some people will refer to as privacy. Autonomy, individuation, being, having a right to your own personal space, owning yourself is critical to you being able to offer intimacy. So if you have a sense that I'm being intruded on, I don't have my own space, I don't have myself, it can actually affect the possibility of you being able to offer intimacy. So there are these two extremes. There's the law of unity, and then there's the need for autonomy, both of which are necessary for a marriage. How do you play that dance? That is the question.
Okay, so when I think of privacy, I think of things like your phone, the state of your accounts.
Yeah.
I think of maybe if, for instance, you want to use the bathroom for a number 2, I don't walk in on you.
Yeah.
I feel like there are some, places I might want to go to. I don't really want you to know I'm going there. Maybe because I want to buy an expensive bag and I know you're going to be against it. So I want to keep that to myself, So when you talk about autonomy and privacy, and sharing everything, I feel like we're just contradicting ourselves. Because in the end, it's still the same wardrobe. I'm going to come and put the handbag, if you get where I'm going.
So it sounds like a contradiction, and it is a contradiction. And like a lot of things in life, there are contradictions that have to be managed. Okay. So the challenge, I think, really is, where do you draw the line between privacy and secrecy? Because those are two different things. For example, I don't believe that people should snoop on partners' phones and be looking around and then become like an FBI, because that kind of degrades your partner. And it degrades you also if you have to be snooping around your partner's phone. But then, if your partner is cheating, for example, you have a right to know, because that is going to impact on your marriage. It's going to impact on your health. It's going to impact on your children. If your partner, for example, is sleeping around, they can come in with STDs. You have a right to know that. So the question is, you do have a right to privacy, but you don't have a right to secrecy. You don't have a right to keep away from your spouse things that can have real impact on your marriage, like debts, like gambling, like buying things that you cannot afford, that you put on the credit card or you put on the family savings. We have a joint account and you go there and you buy some expensive gifts. I have a right to know. I have a right to know anything that you're doing that is going to impact on me and on my marriage. But you do also have a right to spend some time with yourself. I mean, as a Christian, for example, you want to pray, you want to spend some time with God. It's not every single time you want to pray with your wife. You want to go on a holiday, you want to do some soul searching. You do have a right to spend time with yourself. You do have a right to spend time with friends that your spouse may not necessarily enjoy spending time with, as long as that does not impact on the marriage. So there is need for people to be able to lead personal lives as in a healthy personal life within a marriage.
Okay, so I have to ask, what are the detriments? What is so bad about not having your own privacy? So for instance, now, some couples have been going through the non-privacy setting in their homes for 10 years, and it's been working. But what is it that they've been missing out on by not having maybe some personal time, personal space at some point?
It's possible they are missing out on growth. Growth requires that you have personal space. Growth requires that you are able to process things within yourself, to go to places where I mean, if you're not going to places where you feel uncomfortable with your spouse, that means you're not going to certain places in your life that is required that you go into. So intimacy also requires that you hone yourself. That's why rape is a terrible thing, because even though somebody is taking sex from a woman, she's not giving it. So you should be able to, your body, for example, in fact, the fact that it belongs to your spouse, belongs to you first and foremost. You should have a right to withhold it when you don't want to give it. If your spouse comes in and says, your body belongs to me, and then takes you, it's rape, regardless of the fact that you're married. So as sensitive as a thing as even sexual intimacy, you have a right to your you have a right to your body. It's your personal thing, and you offer it when you want to give it. Okay. And then personal secrets from your past, things that are embarrassing in your family, things that does not necessarily have impact on your marriage today. My parents are having problems in their marriage. Does my spouse necessarily need to know? No, except if I choose to share, because it's not something that impacts on our relationship. Even your job. I work as a counselor, as a coach. I do sign confidentiality agreements with my clients.
So you can't go home and tell your wife?
I don't go home telling my wife everything. Okay. So even your job, personal history, things happening in your extended family, these are things that you should have a right to keep private from your spouse.
But it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Okay.
It's a choice.
So if you choose not to, it's not so bad.
It's not so bad as long as it's not something your partner is demanding and requesting. Okay. And then that's the forcefulness of those things being taken from you. That's what makes it, that's what affects your autonomy. That's why when you begin to feel like, looks like I don't own myself here.
Okay. So now we've talked about the detriments, of not having it. But really, are there that many benefits? Okay, fine, growth. But this issue of whether to have it or not to have it, if I choose not to have it, what exactly could I be gaining if I did have it?
If I choose not to have privacy.
Yes. No, we mentioned the detriments earlier.
Okay.
So what is the positive side of having your privacy?
The positive side of having your privacy is what we just discussed. It gives you autonomy, right?
Yes.
It allows you to be able to grow. The negative side.
But I'm thinking, personal growth is what you described.
Yes.
So how do you grow with your partner while asking for privacy? Because I want to go back to what you said about, for instance, extended family. Because I feel like your spouse is a product of where he came from. And if, for instance, there are issues in that family where he came from, it's definitely going to affect his mindset and how he relates to me, relates to the family, reacts to things I do or things I want to do. So that's where I'm going,
So if, for example, my parents have a problem in their marriage, their sex life, say, for example, my dad shares that with me.
Okay.
Does my wife need to know? Absolutely no. My dad has a relationship with my wife. He might find that embarrassing if he knows that he has shared with me as a son in the privacy of his heart, that I go home and share that with my wife. The same thing, the same way that if I have sexual problems with my wife, she wouldn't expect me to share it with my dad, such that when they see she's now looking like daddy knows everything that's going on in that bedroom.
Okay. I really want to go further with this. I wanted to contradict you a little, but we are far spent on time. I would really love to hear what the opinion of our viewers actually is. Please send us your tweets, your posts, reactions online at TVC Connect with the hashtag #WakeUpNigeria. What do you think about this issue of privacy in relationships? And of course, Stephen Amojuegbe, thank you so much
for
coming to the studio. We have to take a short break, but when we come back, Wake Up Nigeria continues. Hello there. It's about 4 minutes past 8 o'clock. Top of the morning to you once again.
Yeah, it's still Wake Up Nigeria. We are not done. The first hour was great, but the second hour is going to be extra special. I'm Yomi Owokwe.
And I'm Titilayo Oyinson. It's all about us being there with you all through the show. We're streaming live on tvcontinental.tv and on Facebook. Look us up at TVC Connect. For comments, very beautiful comments have been coming in so far, by the way. Use the hashtag Wake Up Nigeria.
All right, so Dr. Mariam Olaide-Jagun will be joining us today to talk to us about family planning from a general perspective.
Very important. Can't stress it enough. And of course, Nollywood icon Kola Olaiya will be joining us for a chat as well.
kékeré ní tí mo ṣe fún yín yẹn ṣé tí máa lọ sí àwọn mùpó ni mo lọ bá. ẹjọ má kó mùpó ẹjọ àwọn gàràgà tó falà báyìí máa gbé wa bá. ẹjọ tó lọ ẹjọ ẹ lè sórí ilé mo ṣe wò yín yẹn ẹ̀yin atálíkà lásán yìí tẹ́ ẹ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ owó rí ìwúndàbà pé bá kú nìyẹn tí máa retí kọ́ yìí within 3 hours tí màá rí ẹ̀rí ohun tí máa ṣe fún yín láàrin o kékeré ni ẹ̀.
As always, keep your comments coming on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Tell us what's up with you on this Wednesday morning.
I'm really interested in hearing what people's comments are about this privacy.
Yeah, I even think that should be the crux of the social media discussion.
I think it's a raging topic. A lot of things that Mr. Omojugbe said were well, really poignant. But also,
that's an interesting word.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Very poignant. But one of the things that he said, he started with was, it depends. At the end of the day, it's not one size fits all. Yeah, so it depends on what you have agreed that's going to be private and what you agree that you're going to share. Yeah. Simple. So it's never okay. This is happening in these people's home, then therefore it should happen in our home as well.
Of course. You know, it's really interesting the way he put it. There are benefits, but also disadvantages. You know, my issue with privacy is where to draw the line, and how
do you draw the line in marriage? I don't even understand that. I really can't.
Because in the end, I'm thinking we shouldn't call it privacy. I'm thinking maybe we should say he should have or she should have reflection time. Wow, maybe
interesting stuff.
A timeout, you know.
Or we should go. He should go to the den, his own den, and just stay there for a few hours.
Well, we have to go to the news now. Nifemi is on standby.
To invoke its full powers against the executive if its resolutions are not implemented by President Muhammadu Buhari. The resolutions, which include the vote of no confidence against the Inspector General of Police, cessation of intimidation tactics against leaders of the Assembly, punishment of errant appointees, among others, were reached at an emergency closed-door session, which lasted for more than 3 hours. The National Assembly's decision comes in the wake of the partial withdrawal of security aids attached to Senate and House presiding officers, as well as the police invitation to Senator Bukola Saraki over alleged sponsorship of armed robbery suspects in Kwara State. Now, a youth group is protesting against what it calls unfair treatment meted on Senate President Bukola Saraki by some political elements. The group says fundamental resolutions of the National Assembly are being constantly disregarded, as it seems that the executive is carrying out its own arbitrary approach to national issues. It appealed to men of conscience across the country to prevail on the federal government to stop intimidating and humiliating the Senate President. Meanwhile, a group of National Assembly members known as the Parliamentary Support Group has reaffirmed its support for the president. It says that almost all members of the All Progressives Congress declined to join in the discussion during the joint session. The statement, which was written by Abdulmumin Jibrin on behalf of the group, states that the National Assembly should look inward and address the issue of suffocating senators as well as members with contrary opinion. The group says most of the issues raised concerning the fight against corruption, insecurity, and the rule of law have been severally discussed in the Senate and the House, with various resolutions passed. It wants the National Assembly to exercise caution, not to overheat the polity with statements that are capable of dividing the country. Now, the security chiefs have resolved to send a joint team in the next 2 weeks on a special operation to Zamfara State to checkmate the activities of criminals in the state. This was disclosed by the Inspector General of Police after a National Security Council meeting which held at the Presidential Villa on Tuesday. The team will comprise of the Special Forces of the Nigerian Military, the Nigerian Police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Also speaking, Senator representing Zamfara accused the cartel of being responsible for instigating the criminality in Zamfara as a venture for making money, and indicted the state government of having a nonchalant attitude towards the situation. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, John Oyego, has charged the newly inaugurated APC state chairman on re-election of the party's candidates, particularly President Muhammadu Buhari, in the 2019 elections. Oyego made this call while inaugurating returning a newly elected state chairman at the party's national secretariat in Abuja. He also charges party stakeholders to embrace a compromise. The APC national chairman also named the deputy national chairman North, Senator Lawal Shuaibu, to head the party's reconciliation efforts following the issues that arose from recently conducted ward, local government and state congresses. And that's the news of this hour. I'm Nifebi Oguntoye. Let's take a look at today's weather forecast, and sports will follow.
All right, now Mike Mesekeno is away, but I'm going to be bringing you the sports update as all roads lead to Russia 2018. Now, Nigeria's Super Eagles on Tuesday evening had another training session ahead of their warm-up match against Czech Republic on Wednesday afternoon. Reports say coach Gernot Rohr will make some changes to the team that started against England last weekend. Wilfred Ndidi and John Ogu may start ahead of Ogenyi Onazi and Joel Obi in the Eagles midfield, with Captain Michael Obi, Victor Moses, Alex Iwobi and Odion Igalo retaining their places. The Eagles are targeting a win against Czech to boost their morale ahead of the World Cup, which starts on June 14. Nigerian Super Falcons have had their first official training in Bakau, venue of the first leg of their 2018 Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier against Gambia on Wednesday. The reigning African women's champions arrived in Gambia on Monday and have been training at the FIFA Goal Project in Banjul. The winner between the Super Falcons and Gambia over 2 legs will qualify for this year's Nations Cup holding in Ghana. The return leg of this fixture has been scheduled for Monday, June 11th. The 2018 Africa Women's Nations Cup will serve as qualifiers for the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. Well, that's it on sports for today, actually. And of course, the next thing that we have on the show is the newspaper headlines with myself and Titi.
Yes, indeed. And I would love to start with the Nigerian Tribune. It says, crack in NAS over threat to remove Buhari, as lawmakers give 12-point condition after emergency joint session. Reaffirm vote of no confidence on IGP. We're not part of resolution, parliamentary support group say. NAS resolutions vindicate us, say PDP. As long as we're alive, nobody can remove Buhari, say Kazuri. And signatures being collected for impeachment. Saraki in closed session with U.S. ambassador. Wrapping up on the Nigerian Tribune, it says on Ekiti, INEC identifies 299 flashpoints. More about that on page 3.
All right, very quickly, we're looking at the Punch next. And the headline, herdsmen killings, alleged harassment. National Assembly threatens to invoke its powers against Buhari. And still on the cover of the Punch, Nigeria clears foreign airlines $600 million trapped funds. And then still on the cover of the Punch, Defense Minister wants anti-open grazing laws suspended. And finally, Buhari's medical bills can't be released without his consent, says the court. All on the cover of the Punch.
And that's all we have time for on the headlines in the papers this morning.
All right, we're going to go on a quick commercial break right now, but Wake Up Nigeria continues when we return. All right, welcome back to the studio. We said we're going to bring you some talk about family planning, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Now, we have been talking about family planning for, I think, the past 1 month. And last week, we brought you something on religion and how that relates to family planning and what religious bodies need to do, whether it's the churches or the mosques, what they need to understand and what they need to know. We're going straight to the kitchen now to find out what's happening there. And of course, when we come back, we will be discussing on family planning. Hey, MM.
Okay, so I'm about to taste pepper soup. Yomi, you should actually come taste this. You'd love it. Okay, so just in case you're just joining us, we are making yam pepper soup.
Ukodo.
Ukodo. Which is actually ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the ingredients quickly.
Okay, I just added the red bell pepper, you know, to just make it look very lovely.
Yeah.
I had my yam, my chicken, pepper soup spice, seasoning cube, and salt. That's what we have here. And it's almost ready in like few, let's say like 2-3 minutes to be ready. You know, so
So you can have your uziza leaf if you like.
This we don't put leaf.
Oh.
We don't put leaf.
Okay.
You know, different states actually have their own way of making baking theirs. I think the Calabar call this white soup.
Afiafere.
Yeah, afiafere, yes.
Yeah.
So, but for Delta, this is how it's been made.
Oh.
I just added that pepper, you know, to just garnish it. So it won't look too bare, too plain like that. So,
well, if you're not here in the studio, you are definitely missing. Okay, over to you, Yomi.
All right, thanks, MM. Well, it's looking good in the kitchen there. Now, of course, on today's health discussion, we talked about family planning, and we're going to be looking at it from some specific points, talking about the population and what we need to do as a country. And Dr. Mariam Olaide-Jagun is the director of Middle Space Multilinks Concept, popularly called M-Space. And they have an overarching goal to strengthen the public health system in the country, of course, in implementing family planning, maternal and child health programs, and engage meaningfully with the private sector. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
So, family planning, we've actually tried to capture some aspects of it last week, talking about what religious bodies need to do, how they need to engage their people and, you know, and talk to them about it. But you are coming from an interesting perspective, and you were talking about the population explosion that has occurred since 1988. Talk to us about that.
Well, basically, I'll talk to you about the population, but, you know, family planning is not really about population. It's about the individual rights, to be able to exercise their rights when it comes to deciding when they want to start getting pregnant, how many children they intend getting, how do they want to space them, and when they want to actually terminate this. In terms of the population, let's check the population. In 1991, when the census was done, the population figure was put at 88.5 people in Nigeria. And this over 15 years, the next time the census was done in 2006, it was actually 140 million. You see that we've grown for about 50 million in just 15 years. And our population growth rates then in 2006 was 3.2%. So if you're able to calculate the 3.2% over time, you see that our population stands about 180 million now. Nigeria has no infrastructure or amenities to actually support this. But let's not look at that. Let's look at now the maternal mortality rates. The figures, it's not really, you know, projecting us very well at all. The population study that was done in 2013, the National Demographic Health Survey that was done, actually puts us at every 100,000 live births that we have in Nigeria, 576 women actually die because of this. Because
and that's a very high rate.
It's really high rate.
Even looking at it globally.
Yeah. And, you know, in Nigeria, about 11 women die every day. You know, people, when you talk about this, people don't really raise an eyebrow. But if you look at it and say, okay, people die by 11 women die every day. Let's calculate, let's look at a plane. How many people actually fit into a plane? About 120, 125. So if you have 125 people in a plane and you have about that dying every day, you understand? What do you think? People, yeah. That's a lot of people. And, you know, when you talk about the global burden, we're actually contributing about 19% to the global burden. And our population is just contributing 2% to the global burden. And
so it's skewed in a funny way, which is why
you're contributing 2% to the population of the globe globally,
and then 19% of the deaths.
On the 19% of the death. And if you look at it, abortion, unsafe abortion, actually carries a huge proportion on it, and this could actually be stopped by people having the country having an effective family planning program in it. I tell you this: if you have an effective family planning program, you'll be able to cut the deaths by about 30%.
And but what's happening? Because it seems like this information is going out, but almost like people are not assimilating it as fast as they should. What do you think the challenges are?
Well, you know, the challenges are actually multifaceted. You've spoken that, you know, you actually spoken to the religious bodies to see what they can actually do in it. Broadly, people have to know their space and what they can actually contribute to it. It's a lot of cultural issues. There's still a cultural issue in people having, you know, tending to have more children in Nigeria. And also there's a male preference. So if a woman doesn't have a male child, she's not satisfied.
She's going to keep trying.
She keeps trying until she has the male child. And probably when she has the male child, after the 4th or 5th child, she wants to also have a second one to make sure that he has 2 male children. Then also it's like, you know, the man has to get involved in this. And there are lots also of myths and misconceptions concerning family planning. So there are 2 aspects. There are the people that don't believe that I have to stop having children now. Those are the ones that, you know, the cultural issues and everything. There's some that even want to use it. But because of the myths and misconception that we have about family planning, it's discouraging them to actually access family planning. If you look at it, the contraceptive prevalence rate is about 15% for all methods. That's including traditional methods. That's the last NDHS.
And that's pretty low.
Very low. That means that if we take 100 women that are within reproductive age, 15 to 49 years, you just find about 15 using all the methods, including traditional methods. But if you think about the modern methods, about less than 10 women on family planning methods.
Well, I think one of the challenges also, because every time we talk about family planning, whether it's on TV, on radio, because I've heard 1 or 2 radio programs, even in the newspapers, it always looks like it's the women that are at the forefront of family planning. Is there anything that the Multilinks Concepts is doing to get the men more involved? I know some men are involved, but not as they should.
Yeah, okay. For the Multilinks, what we'll do, like you said about our overarching goal, is to make sure that government actually implements this program. So we give technical support to government in implementing and strengthening the public health system to be able to have an effective family planning program. Yes, they have a costed implementation plan. At the national level, they have a blueprint in making sure that family planning, you know, it's aspirational. Family planning is what everybody actually wants to do. So like the blueprints that actually had has looked at the different aspects of the systems, looked at demand creation, looked at the service delivery components, the supply end, that's the supply of commodities to it, health financing. You know, it's looked at all this big picture. And, you know, what's in the center of this is actually communication. That's the demand, expanding demand that you just talked about. And when we want to expand demand, there are different aspects you actually have to look about. One, you know, that actually plays critical in this, in making sure that the men are involved. Because the men most times are decision makers when it comes to the home. If you look at some societies, the men decides when the women go out, what the women should do, how many children you should have. The women don't really have the power, especially when you look at, you know, the quintile in which we are talking about, the lower quintile, the people in rural areas, the people that, you know, the downtrodden. If you look at the relationship, the men has the men, they have the upper hand, they have more control. So men should be involved in this, and that's, you know, what we've been trying to do to make sure that, you know, the men are involved. In our programs, we actually make sure that this, you know, it's well embedded in it. And also in the blueprints that has been developed, and also there's a communication plan that the government has actually developed in making sure that this is well embedded in it.
As we're rounding off, I just wanted to. There's this eligibility criteria wheel for contraception use that I have here, and I'm just curious. I'm not sure how much. I think we have just a few more seconds, but this helps families choose which ones that they can,
yes,
take
it's
up.
actually done with the health provider. So what this happens is that if you look at it, you actually see the wheel in it. So if you look at the outer rim, it has different characteristics of people, and it also has the medical conditions that women could have. And inside inside this wheel, you have the different methods, from the barrier method, hormonal, invasive methods. And there's a slot in it that determines, that determines whether women are eligible or not. It runs from 1 to 4. 4 means that you shouldn't use, and 1 means that you could actually use. 1 and 2, depending on the society you find yourself, and depending on the how you can actually support with medicine, you could actually use it. If you have good judgment, the woman can actually use it. So it runs from 1 to 4. So in it you have the slot. So you just have to turn it to the medical condition or the characteristics in which you're talking about. Take for instance,
then a woman, and of course the family is able to then choose that. Okay,
no, it's not a family. You do it with the healthcare provider. Okay. So this is, you find it in the health facility.
Okay, so they will then work with you
after
to
counseling.
determine.
Yeah, they work with you to determine what conditions do you have, what are your characteristics, could you actually use this or not. Take for instance, let's talk about vaginal bleeding. If you look at vaginal bleeding, I've turned into vaginal bleeding. These are the different methods: 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So that means that the woman can actually use combined hormonal contraception. She can use progesterone-only contraceptives, but she can't, in implants, you have to decide, except you think that the benefit actually outweighs the disadvantages, then she should use it. But she can't use IUD. And she can't use copper because she's bleeding.
Okay, so I understand.
So this is actually with the
it provides a clearer picture. Yes. So people actually need to go to these facilities, sit down with the healthcare
provider. They're engaged. It's healthcare councils resting on the different methods, gives a comprehensive information concerning all the different methods. The woman chooses a method. They see whether the method the woman chooses, whether she's eligible to actually use it before she's given. All
right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jagun, for joining us this morning. And a note to all the men: support your wives and ensure that you plan your family and space your children. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. Please stay with us. We're going to be back on Wake Up Nigeria with our final celebrity guest.
Welcome back. So far, so good, right?
So far, so good, yeah.
Woo. On to the next one. We have Kola Olaiya, an actor known for his versatility in both Yoruba and English movies.
Yeah, he starred in the Wale Adenuga production series Super Story, doing its Old Father, Old Daughter story, as well as the popular Nollywood movie Jennifer. But when we talk about him, sometimes it feels like
you have to go back.
You have to go back because he's worked with a lot of legends from back in the day. We're talking 40, 50 years ago, and he's joining us this morning. It's so good to see you, sir.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
Okay, so before we came on the air, you were taking us way back to the 1960s and talking about the legend himself, Dr. Hubert Ogunde. Can you tell us about your relationship with him?
Glory be to God Almighty. I knew the late legend, the late doyen of theater himself, the late Dr. Hubert Adedeji Ogunde, as far back as 1966 in Tamale, northern region of Ghana.
Wow.
I was teaching in a primary school then, so when they came, they settled in the third house to my father's house there. So I knew them. I used to follow their vehicle to show them road when we are making an announcement that tonight we are performing so place. So there.
It wasn't movies then, it was just theater.
It wasn't, there was no movie then. It was theater on stage. I told them that I wanted to join them because I was fascinated with their dances, their songs, and their acting. I said, no. We know you with your family.
To be a teacher.
We don't employ people outside Nigeria. But whenever you come back to Nigeria, you are welcome. So that was in the 1970. I came back to Nigeria straight to Ogunde's house.
Wow.
That is number 3 Nubu Street. Alagomeji, Yaba.
Wow, wow.
And that was
how I started.
Wow, amazing.
And get me what? I lived with them in that number 3 Nubu Street for 3 years, 4 months.
Wow.
Because they took me as their son. I mean, daddy and the wives, they all loved me. So,
and that was how
it was after 3 years, 4 months, I started renting my own apartments.
That's how your journey started in
exactly.
the movies.
Exactly.
Amazing, amazing.
You know, when you hear about journeys like this, you know, it kind of helps you realize that there was a Nollywood before the Nollywood. There were actors before there were actors. But I would love to know how you've been able to select your roles, because it's been noted, let me say, that many times you've acted as either a police officer or a pastor. So I don't know whether it's something you've been selecting.
And one of his first comments today was, "To God be the glory." So you're already in character, as it were.
Thank you very much for that question. With Ogunde, you must be able to play any role. Tell me to play a cat pusher. I will act it for you just exactly as a cat pusher. Ask me to play a king. I'm there. Because we were trained. And that is why Ogunde don't give any a stage name. I mean a marked name for somebody in a play.
Okay.
Like Onimoto, I mean, yes, like in Anyomo, I was Isho Omagumate. In Onimoto, I was Baba Aloni, Onimosomonti. In Aye, I was Jaye Simi. That I mean, I was in Aye on stage.
Yes.
I was Deimbo. So and so on and so forth.
So he'll give you to create that dynamism in you.
Yes. It's according to the story. You play the character's name.
But so maybe it was the directors or the producers that maybe were seeing you in those roles?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. He was the director, he was the producer.
So let's talk about your journey at with Super Story, with the old father, old daughter that you became popular with for the new generation. You know, there was that old generation, but the newer generation that knew you with the Super Story connection.
Fantastic question. I wasn't in their cast.
Originally, yeah.
Originally. I was jobless that time when Prince Jide Kosoko was one of the casts there at Ijede then. I said, "Oh, Jide, I'm not doing anything at home. Just let me follow you to that location." We were there. In fact, they were eating very early in the morning because it's a long story, so let me break it because of time. There was this Danjuma, late of the blessed memory, playing the role of Danjuma then. But unfortunately for them, unfortunately for Danjuma himself, he won an, what do you call it?
Award?
Contract.
Contract, okay.
At Abuja. So,
the comedian? Is it the comedian?
Danjuma was a very good actor.
Okay.
He is good in comedy and serious acting. So they were looking for somebody to replace Danjuma, and they have already shot 4 episodes out of 26 episodes. I was there. The man, Wale Adenuga, was worried when Jide Kosoko went to meet him, and he told Jide Kosoko his problems. Jide said, Yegmokola is there. He speaks Hausa. Oh, it was Wale Adenuga himself that got out of the car, called me. When I got there, he said, I was told you understand Hausa. I said, yes. Anta, please, give me the script. So that, in a nutshell, that was how I started the Super Story, Old Father, Old Daughter, from episode 5 to the end.
Wow.
Amazing.
Amazing. You want to think, but I'm curious because with all the activities, your background in Ghana, and then coming to Lagos with Dr. Hubert Ogunde. I can't see the Hausa connection. I'm wondering where that came from.
You know, in Ghana, that tribe, we call them Dagbani. And in Dagbani, because in the northern states of any country in West Africa, these Hausas are common there.
Okay.
So there I learned, I understand Hausa, Dagbani, Gonja, and even Twi, that's Ashanti.
Wow.
So that's how my Hausa. In fact, when I came back to Nigeria, I couldn't speak Dagbani again because nobody to speak to. But this Hausa is continuous.
Yeah.
Sir,
amazing.
Please let us invite you to our kitchen. Please come and take a bite with us.
Wow.
Chef Tina has been hard at work.
Oh, thank you very much.
Please.
We're going to be introducing a legend to them.
Ooh la la.
Yes.
Please have a seat, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And we're also going to be
You're
having...
welcome to our kitchen.
Thank you very much.
I hope you like yam.
Wow. It's my food.
Oh, great. You like pounded yam?
Pounded yam sometimes, but yam.
Excuse me, Yomi.
Okay.
Sorry, Yomi.
All right, so let's talk about our meal here. Chef
Yeah,
Tina,
we
over to
have
you.
I think we're also going to be having Dr. Jagun joining us.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
This looks like porridge,
Welcome, Ma.
Yes.
Yam porridge.
Yes.
Thank you. Over there, please. Yeah.
Please have a seat.
Okay, so Auntie Tina, over to you.
We have a ukodo. There's a yam pepper soup.
Yeah.
This is actually originated from Delta State, and it's like when they're having a festival, Christmas now, this is the one that they really have. Yeah. So I just decided to like do this, and we have our chicken, we have a yam,
Pepper soup spice.
Pepper soup spice, yes. Then we have our diced and
pepper. Yeah.
Then
So
that's
looks more like pepper soup over there.
yes, yes.
Like
When it's served, you actually had it. We have it with oil.
Palm
oil. Palm oil. Then the pepper soup will just be by the side, you know.
Wow.
So then for others that don't like that soup, like me, I prefer it this way. So which way would you
So
like?
which one are we tasting now? Which one?
Anyone.
Which one would you like? This one?
Okay.
This will be okay.
I know that
Because it
Dr.
look
Jagun
like
is fasting.
It looks like ikokore to me.
Okay. Oh,
Yes, I love ikokore.
Oh, you love ikokore?
Oh, wow.
Oh. Can you make it, sir? Maybe we could have you on the show. Come teach us how to make it.
I have cooked for... Should I name the name? For African Kitchen.
Wow.
Okay. Years back.
Wow.
I cooked, I made a ikokore for them.
So let us know what you think about our yam pepper soup.
Go ahead
this
and have
morning.
Have a taste, sir.
Wow.
Please.
And while...
First of all...
Wow. Let's see what the verdict is.
Patiently waiting.
Yeah.
Just like a kokore, and with this leaves. Oh,
Wow.
lovely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I understand what you're saying.
You are from Ijebu? I'm from Oyo, in Betty, the Marble City.
all right.
But because I was trained by an Ijebu chief.
Thank you very much.
Let's wrap up.
We'll also a big thank you to our friends at Homely NG.
And of course, for last place for styling our hair, thank you to all our guests as well.
Yeah.
Had
what
a fun
show.
Wednesday.
What a show it's been today.
Yeah.
Thank you to Dr. Jagun for joining us this morning, and also the legend himself.
Bye.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Have a great day.